Hey, welcome back. So right now on a blog post on the official website for Slime Rancher 2, you can actually find like this commemorative blog post that kind of just showcase a lot of concept art that the artist actually created for the development of Slime Rancher 2, and just kind of showcasing not only the concept art but also a few of the technical assets that they use to actually build the world. So let's just check that out together right now. Now, I will actually leave a link to this blog post in the description down below so you can come check it out for yourself at your own pace if you want. But basically, if you scroll down beyond this text, over here you actually have all the artists. So whenever you click on one of these links, then you're actually going to have, a page open up that's going to be the art station where all these artists show all their art, not only for Slime Rancher 1 or 2, but also for their other games or their other things that they work on in their free time. Okay, so we're going to start off with Dan Van Hart, which is the senior character artist at Monomi Park. So as I understand it, Dan actually really just showcases how he actually had to update a base look for Slime Rancher 2. So he actually made an entire new character model, entirely new facial rig and animations, updated third and first person idle animations. So as you can see, he actually completely, created it probably in ZBrush, I believe. I thought it was going to be Blender, to be honest. And over here, you actually immediately have this like YouTube video where you can actually see all their character idle animations. So, depending how long you are actually watching her in her house, she's going to take other poses on. She's going to mess with her gloves. She puts her gun down. She can also just kind of, eat a sandwich, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, sip out of the merch, jar that is back in stock, as I've just read on Nick Popovich's Twitter account. And after a point, she just goes sitting down because she's ready to fall asleep, which is a really cool animation, and she even yawns and everything, so yeah. Now in the first person idle animations, you can actually just see over here, so Beatrix is kind of changing her hand, probably to get rid of the cramps in her hands from just holding this thing up the entire time. But yeah, it's really cool just seeing how much detail they placed in it. Because as you're just playing, you don't really always kind of, notice this immediately. But just to watch an entire video of it, just like 10 seconds, just seeing all these movements, it's pretty cool. Next up, we have Dylan Summerfield, and he actually uploaded a lot of pictures. I actually already took a look at it. So first off, he just starts off with the set dressing for the house. So this is basically, he designed the house. He actually designed, well, basically everything. Over here, we actually have a plort market with the mentioning of Quantum and Saber Slime. I actually already talked about that. Link in the description if you want to know if Saber Slimes are going to be back. Yes, they are. Next up, we actually have like this top-down view of the ranch over here with the walkway to the laboratory. And over here, we actually have all the building blocks that he used to actually recreate that refinery into the basement. So all the building blocks that he actually used. So all these pipes, of course, the builder itself, the refinery itself, and of course all these little tools were individually made. Of course, he actually also created the teleporters and just showcases a little bit more of the basement. And of course, the buildings were also created by him, which are really cool and really turned out really well. And I'm just wondering if he's going to make a few more, just a few different styles or just different machines. I would love to know. And of course, he also created these things that you can interact with in the game. So of course, the slime statues, the treasure pots. But actually, if you watch this video, you can actually also really obviously see how everything is constantly glowing. So the door, the orb that is inside of this, thing that you can use to open up a door, then the treasure pot. It's just pretty cool. And of course, he also made the assets for the teleporters in Rainbow Fields, which is pretty cool. However, a few of the effects were actually designed by another artist that we're going to see in a second. Now over here, we actually have a few building blocks that they are actually called the Labyrinth wall assets. So basically, once again, a reference to the future area that's going to come to Slime Rancher 2. Also link in the description down below. That's going to be called the Labyrinth. And so he just kind of showcases all the, building pieces that he actually had to create to make all these structures. So all these stone assets and of course the glowing effect into them. So this is pretty cool. Just once again, just showcasing as much color as they can in their game constantly. I believe even Nick Popovich at one point actually said during the development process that there is not a single shade of black in this entire game, which is pretty cool and kind of an amazing feat on its own. Now, a lot of his screenshots are just kind of showcasing all these set dressings that he actually made. So he created a lot of the building blocks. He just placed them into the world, kind of, decorated everything, which is pretty cool. So yeah, he really did a good job because let's be honest, the environment in Slime Rancher 2 is probably one of the best parts of the entire game in my opinion. I really love how Starlight Strand actually turned out. Over here, you actually also have like the decal for the cracks that were actually used, for example, for this tree over here. There's a crack so the tree can actually go through it. You can't just place a tree on a regular rocks, of course. So yeah, that's pretty cool. He really did a good job on that front. I have to admit, I'm not going to showcase all his pictures because there are a lot of this and basically it's just going to drag out this video way too long. But the one thing I really do want to showcase is basically all the drones. So he actually also created them. So from the concept from Ray Brulheit, I don't know how to pronounce that. But basically he actually kind of created the entire asset for the drones, which is just amazing. And of course over here we actually also have all the animations. But those were done by Dan Van Hart that we saw earlier. So basically the guy who actually also did Beatrix also did these animations. And of course, he also created the geysers together with Norman Martinez, who is always commenting on every single page, which is a lot of, kind of showcasing what a cool team Monomi Park has going for there. And of course, also the building blocks that were used for Slime Ranchers to ancient ruins areas where we're most likely going to be able to find quantum slime soon enough. It's just a guess of mine, but honestly, this one is probably my favorite area in Amber Valley. It's just such a hidden nook away, but basically it's so cool. Let's move on to Edward Del Villar, so basically a technical artist in Monomi Park who actually lives in Sydney, Australia. So basically this guy did a lot of the VFX. So as you can see over here, the teleporter activation. So all those VFX that actually are constantly going on, that was done by Edward, which is really cool because honestly, that teleporter is really like this huge grand moment, the moment that he actually presses that button. We actually also did the VFX, of course, for the Boom Slime, which is also really well done. Boom. I love that always. I really hope that they're going to bring back the Arcane Secret style. Also, the Slime Squash and Wobble on-off comparison. So over here, they have their Wobble on. So actually, you can see they're just like really kind of squishing from their own weight when they're actually falling down, which is pretty cool. Okay, so when the wobble is actually off, so you can actually have more like that effect of balls who are just bouncing around in the room. It's just a lot less, slime and more like just a ball. So that was a really good job from him. And what else do we have? We have the lava zone atmosphere, of course. All the particles, the embers, the falling ash particles, the heat distortion, refractions, stuff like that. Pretty cool. The grass interactions. So of course, whenever you use your backpack, the grass is actually moving towards you because you're actually sucking it up actually without it coming loose. And of course, the tar pop explosions, which are really have a big improvement. Considering if you actually look from the ones in the original Slime Rancher game from Ian McConville over here. Well, basically, it has been a massive improvement. Next up, we have Norma Martinez, which is a senior environment artist in Monomi Park. So Norma Martinez actually worked kind of like very closely with Dylan Summerfield just to kind of make all those set dressings. So kind of really populate the world with all those assets just to kind of bring it alive. So this is actually a lot of screenshots from the world that we already know. So basically a lot of Starlight Strand and Ember Valley. It's pretty cool to see that it's really, really great screenshot from very specific points that it's really hard to recreate as just a player. But honestly, just, really great screenshots, just kind of really showcasing how beautiful they actually made this world. But there are, once again, really a lot of them. And over here, we actually have a few of these assets that were used to create those pillars that we have in Ember Valley. And just kind of showcasing over here these kind of fossilized, what is this, shells that are actually being used in Ember Valley. And over here we actually have the loose assets, which is really cool. Over here we actually have these circles that are used around the geysers. And of course a few of the, flowers, wall dressing, trees. I really love this screenshot over here. So this is actually one of the most raw asset screenshots we actually get. So basically this is the entire volcano with the lava stream actually just coming down. It's just really cool. And then of course we have the big rainbow fields area, which is really well done for just actually having so many open areas. It still really feels rich. These slime statues really create the landscape. So I really like how they use that. Of course, a few rock assets and stuff like that, a lot of flowers. Just look at all the different types of vegetation that they actually had to create to make these simple introductory tutorial area. To be honest, they really, didn't skip a beat. They really went to work on this. And then, of course, their masterpiece, the conservatory. Building concept was by Ray, but she did pretty much all the other things. So conservatory building, world pieces, beds, planters, foliage, set dressing. Whenever you actually go through the conservatory, you can thank Norma and Ray for this building. So this is once again a lot of screenshots from the conservatory. Over here we actually have the plort market without the SABER slimes and quantum slimes. So I don't know. Over here we actually have a few more assets, a few puddle slimes and a pond. Just a lot of cool screenshots. And of course over here the asset for that big tree in the middle of the conservatory. Really well done. That's a really cool tree. I really liked how it's just in the middle of the ranch and it just really, creates this awesome vibe. So apparently Norma actually had a fun task of reworking the backpack. Now the original design was also from Ian McConville. Yeah, apparently yes, over here confirmation. And we actually have the concept from Ray Brulehide, which also made the conservatory building. So over here we just have a lot of screenshots of the backpack. I always love these models. I just love seeing those things. It just kind of looks like those Warhammer minis that you actually have to paint. Never did that, but I always like the original color. Just a cool, tone of gray. And of course, over here we actually have a little video of just showcasing, the backpack at work. Then of course we have Ray B that we actually have already seen mentioned a few times. So basically he did a lot of concept art for Slime Rancher 2. So we have Beatrix over here in the middle of the field. We actually have over here the beehives dripping. Picture of the rainbow fields with a cotton slime on top of it. A few design choices for the maybe indigonium, maybe that's making a return. Radiant ore over here and jellystone on the other one, and probably the bottom ones are once the resources are harvested. This might be indigonium in the near future, I'm not sure. A few of the assets that they should use, actually a few of the trees that they had in mind for the tree in the middle of the conservatory. So this one is one of those African trees. This more like swamp area. Yeah, they did the right choice. They made the right choice. This one is probably the best one. And then of course a few assets for the Ember Valley, I believe, over here. And this screenshot is kind of surprising me. So over here we actually have a puddle slime in the secret styles. So this is probably not a confirmation that secret styles are coming back. But on the other hand, it is quite confusing. Okay. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. We have Beatrix over here standing eye to eye with an angle slime. We have a few more design trees for the split tree over here in Star Strand, which is pretty cool. And then of course for the lava dust. And is that a volcanic beehive? That is cool. I want that. They should introduce that. That would be pretty cool. I don't know what type of materials that would be, but I want it. Some coral crusted tide pool as a design. So silky sand over here, or I believe that is going to be silky sand at least. A lot of really cool concept. Honestly, Ray is probably my new favorite person. These are some really cool ideas. So over here we have the research drones with solar panels initially as their wings, but that was kind of changed to this version over here with the drone numbers, unfortunately. But I really like the idea of solar panels on there. Very contemporary for these days. And of course over here even some concept art for the teleporters, so that's pretty cool. And of course, yeah, all the icons were actually also made by him. So a lot of the upgrade materials, a few of the slimes, so the ringtail slime, the cotton gordo, the honey gordo, Victor, a few plorts, and then of course the chickens, radiant ore, angler slime. So over here we actually have slime fossils, so that might be also returning. There was also the data mining SR2 leaks that he actually shared, so that slime fossils may be coming back. And of course the introduction art that you see whenever you start a new game is of course also done by him. And even the art of Victor just, talking to you through the communicator, and probably also the other NPCs. He did that amazingly well. A few more promotional art from Ray B. So over here, just, the introduction of Slime Rancher 2. So, like this huge close-up of Beatrix, of Machi, Miles, Victor, Bob with pink slimes, not always pink slimes, and Ogden Ortiz, who is way too happy all the time. And of course, the happy summer. Yeah, we actually already got that in the past through the Twitter account. And this one is probably my favorite art piece all time from Slime Rancher. So basically the one for the original game soundtrack, which was composed by Harry Mack. And he actually also did this one. I really like these. So these was actually for the experimental update for Slime Rancher 1. And of course the Secret Style Pack, the Weekly Wonderland of last year, I believe. Oh yeah, he made some really cool promotional art pieces for Slime Rancher. Really cool. I'm gonna use a lot of these in the future, by the way, for the characters. Just saying. Then we have Grace Liu, who is the lead artist at Netflix games. So let's just check out what she helped out with because she isn't officially at Monowi Park. So actually what she did is essentially paint over. So I'm not really sure what that means. So basically it's kind of concept art, but she worked together with Norma on a lot of the concept art to flesh out the areas, maybe. I'm not really sure what paint over means. So if you know, please let me know in the comment section down below. But a lot of, cool art pieces. I just love this. Not really sure what it's meant for, but it looks pretty cool. So all the themes and the breakdowns, apparently. We actually have a few more paint overs of, areas that actually made it into the game. This one, I don't know. Maybe in Starlight Strand. Yeah, this is going to be the one in Starlight Strand where you actually find the Flooded Gordo over here. And then, of course, a few more slime statues. Not all made it into the game, so I don't think there are any broken assets, angry slime statues. These, I don't think these are in game right now. These are though. And then, of course, over here we actually have a few decorations that you can actually build in Slime Rancher 2. And this beautiful piece with the lava stream and that single boom in there. And some carrots, apparently. Now, Lisa Fleck is basically the 3D artist that actually made a lot of the platforms, the statues and stuff like that for Slime Rancher 2. Also a lot of the trees I've seen. And okay, I'm mistaken, there are a lot of slime statues from Grace Liu in this game, apparently. I didn't know that. Oops. So of course also some coral platforms, which are pretty cool. And of course she also made the models and textures for the hero tree, not the split tree, as I always call it, the hero tree. And of course she didn't create this herself. She also helped with Dylan Summerfield, Mike Doherty and Ian McConville. But she made a lot of the textures apparently for all the trees in game. So over here we have Q-Berry, we actually have the pomegranate, I don't know. The prickle pear, also returning apparently. So Dervish Slimes confirmed. Mint mango and of course pogo fruit. And last but not least, we actually have Jane DeSiena, who is also an artist on World of Warcraft apparently. But she also did some things for Slime Rancher too. Didn't know that. So apparently she was responsible for concepting, modeling and texturing the light fixtures from the conservatory. And the set dressing and lighting was done by Norma Martinez. So all these light textures are basically done by her. Of course, these lanterns and these things that stick out of the ground. I don't know how you call it in English. But basically she was responsible for that. And she apparently also did the modeling and textures for the coral brushes and the trees for the tide pools. So just a lot of these things were actually all created by Jane for Slime Rancher 2. And those were all the shared concept art and asset pieces for Slime Rancher 2. Next up, you should probably check out this video out right here, but don't click on just yet. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on everything Slime Rancher 2 related. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you over there.